共国的脱贫是用签脱贫协议、停低保的方式消灭贫困人口。无社保和教育不平等是9600万儿童与父母骨肉分离的根源。中共国大饥荒已经迫在眉睫。公权力肆意妄为之下，上访只不过是对受害者的围猎场。扑面而来的房地产税，既让房地产的崩盘有了喜剧色彩，又增加了收割力度。在公私合营的绞杀之下，昔日富豪马云、马化腾、刘强东正在步王建后尘。国务院正在为难以为继的企业织就皇帝的新装。浦东公安分局9名民警被就地关在小区成立临时党支部，控制和消灭病毒并非中共他们的本职，维护和制造恐吓才是。
据新华社的消息，天津市滨海新区将于11月28号到30号对6类重点人群开展第2次核酸检测筛查工作。这6类重点人群包括进口冷链食品、进口货物与入境人员接触的从业人员、快递、外卖等物流人员、公交车、出租车、网约车司机、医疗卫生机构、各类学校人员等。
兰州公布5位1名境外无症状感染者、21名密接者行踪及检测结果全部阴性，但最可怕的是无症状感染者在此前的入境和14天隔离期间也是阴性。重庆一公司外籍员工从2月1日至10月26日一直住在重庆某酒店，至11月28日出境抵达韩国时被检出新冠病毒阳性。在这期间，他到底接触了多少人？中共病毒或将无法控制。沈嘉欣对钟南山除了卖药别无所成的质疑捅了马蜂窝。在疫情和贸易战双重打击之下，商务部一厢情愿地幻想通过释放本就一穷二白的农村人口的消费力来刺激经济。党媒宣传的脱贫神话仍藏不住边远山区孩子们的贫困无依。武汉协和医院对所有进入者实施智能监控。
非常想念大家，感激你们一直关心和关爱，能活着回来，
感谢你们的祈祷。回来40多天了，身体还是很糟糕，经常浮现恐怖的画面，但有大家的帮助，有信心很快恢复到那个活泼正能量的天。谢谢大家。
近日，广东省13届人大常委会审议通过了广东省人民代表大会常务委员会关于制止餐饮浪费的决定，当中包括不得设置最低消费额、宣扬吃播将负法律责任等内容。我们一起去了解一下。
该决定明确餐饮经营者制止餐饮浪费8个方面的义务性规范，包括建立健全全链条节约管理制度。
香港特区正以国家安全教育的名义埋葬香港教育。 病毒驶移香港，也正在肆虐于香港。香港经济凛冬已至，商业地产哀嚎遍野。
美国总统当选人拜登刚宣布的几项政府新人事任命，像是国务卿布林肯、国家安全顾问苏利文，过去跟公务们有面对面的互动的经验。
I'm using cash every day, but the government is paying me cash for my salary because I don't have a bank account.
Georgia is buying new election machines for the whole state to replace the AccuVote voting machines that we know are insecure. And they are replacing them with another set of machines that are also insecure because they use barcodes, and barcodes can be hacked.
The model that is their favorite choice right now is the Dominion ImageCast.
The ImageCast X will not permit the voter to overvote a contest, to change
What
or
this does is it's a touchscreen machine. The voter enters their vote, and what is spit out is a paper ballot, and their votes are encoded as barcodes. The vote itself is in that barcode. No humans I know can read barcode very well. And it's that vote that is then put into a scanner and counted. It is, again, putting a computer between the voter and his ballot. Putting a computer between a voter and his ballot is going to make sure that you don't have an auditable, reliable election.
So even though the election officials in Georgia are paying lip service to the fact they now have a paper trail, they are creating a paper trail that in fact can't actually be audited.
Just 2 short years ago, the liberal social media outfit Now This sounded the alarm over vulnerable voting machines with a video showing that, quote, a hacker only needs 1 minute to change election results in 24 states. Twitter didn't censor that or label it. Now they just pretend it doesn't exist.
The serial console in the back gives us a root shell.
That means you have control of the machine.
Have full control of that, and then we can change the results of what it's scanning.
This is the way that you get data in and out of the operating system that runs on this machine.
My computer is connected to the machine. This is a serial cable, and it's connected to the back of the machine. You take off the back of the machine, and there's a serial port, and that gives us full root access with no password.
There's no security subsystem on this one.
Nope, there's no password on it. With this kind of access, you could rewrite the code that's running on there and get it to count votes in whatever way you wanted. You would do this in advance of election night and then wait for the results to come in.
You could control the election results.
Either way, as long as I had physical access to either plug something in or take off the back and plug something in there.
But you just need that access briefly.
Once, yes, very briefly.
About how long?
If you had this all prepped and ready to go, a minute.
A minute. 3 companies implicated in worldwide election meddling scandals are intertwined through a labyrinth of shell companies: Dominion, Smartmatic, and Sequoia. Dominion Voting Systems manufactures both election hardware and software with headquarters in Toronto, Canada, and Denver, Colorado. Smartmatic is the multinational corporation that makes vote counting machines as well as software and is purportedly tied to the late Venezuelan dictator Hugo Chavez's regime. Smartmatic machines have used Dominion software. Sequoia, which was acquired by Dominion in 2010, makes voting machines that have used Smartmatic software.
Here to help answer that question is one of the lead members of President Trump's legal team, our friend Jenna Ellis. Jenna, welcome back to the program.
Great to see you, Grant, and it's a great night to be with you. And I have some breaking news for you on the legal fight. And that is that the Pennsylvania legislature in both the House and the Senate have issued a statement saying that they are going to introduce resolutions in the House and the Senate to take back their Article 2, Section 1.2 constitutionally delegated authority and take back from these corrupt election officials the right to be able to put forward their delegates in Pennsylvania in the manner that the legislature authorizes. And so this is a huge thing that came out of the hearing where they heard all of the evidence that we had of corruption. They heard from these witnesses. They heard what more we have. And so the Pennsylvania state legislature is moving on this, and we are very, very proud of their courage.
All right, so they say they can do this with a joint resolution because one of the at least challenges in Pennsylvania, you got a Democratic governor there who could stop a law passed. They say they can do it with a joint resolution. My guess is that's going to end up in a legal case as well. How do you see this playing out?
Right. So under the Constitution, in Article 2, Section 1.2, the governor is not mentioned, nor is any other elected official. The sole power to determine the manner in which the Electoral College delegates are appointed is vested solely with the state legislature. So these resolutions do not need to be approved by the governor. He has nothing to do with it. This is all about the state legislature, and that's why the state legislature is moving on these resolutions.
The South Korean government has declared all parts of the country at risk and is taking extraordinary measures after a highly pathogenic bird flu was reported on Friday at a poultry farm for the first time in more than 2.5 years. The Minister of Agriculture, Kim Hyun-soo, said in a briefing on Sunday that the virus of the type H5N8 was most likely transmitted to ducks at a local farm by migratory birds from Siberia. The minister said the virus is not currently being transmitted to humans. On Friday, a nationwide standstill for all livestock facilities was declared for 48 hours and in the area near the affected farm for 7 days.
Welcome back to the War Room on the John Fredericks Radio Network, on Real America's Voice, on Newsmax TV, on G News, GTV, and Mandarin throughout the world. Also with a podcast that has over 21 million downloads, one of the top podcasts in the country, and I think number 30 in the entire world. I want to thank everybody, our distribution partners, particularly the guys today in Denver and in Richmond that are helping us over this holiday weekend to put this on day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday. We're now going to bring on Mayor Giuliani, but I got something. The engine room of the War Room continues to work 24/7. Just sent me a very interesting tweet from Mel Q. Per the President Trump's executive order from 9/12/18, if Biden's fake transition team accepts federal dollars from GSA while knowingly involved in voter fraud, any person associated with this transition can be considered a co-conspirator. Remember, this is all a faux. This is a faux presidency, a faux president-elect. This is all nonsense. Donald Trump on a resounding victory on game day. That would be November 3rd. Our next guest, Rudy Giuliani, is the man in charge of securing that victory and making sure it is not stolen from the American people. We now bring in America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani. Jack Posobiec, my wingman from One America, has been kind enough to come to the War Room today. So, Mayor Giuliani, the mainstream media, once again, is dancing on your grave, which they do every 24 hours, right? This is why you're a resurgent. You're the ultimate honey badger. You do not care. You just keep going forward. They're dancing on your grave now because of the Third Circuit. Walk us through why they're wrong. This is not a catastrophic defeat.
No, actually, it actually helps us because it gives us another vehicle to the Supreme Court. Far better that they decided it quickly than they took 4 weeks and even came out our way. So the reality is, I don't think people understand the strategy. The strategy is to get to the Supreme Court with 3 or 4 different types of claims, all of which come to the conclusion that this election was systemically fraudulent. What I mean by that was it wasn't in 1 state or 2 or 3. It was in 6 or 7 of the most important states and isolated to the crooked Democratic cities in those states. And they were always counting on this new method of mail-in voting, which had been resisted for 20 years because it's so prone to fraud, and they knew exactly what they could do with it. So basically, they were ready to wipe out almost any margin that he had. And, had we been on the old system, they couldn't have wiped out some of these margins. There wasn't enough room in the absentee ballots, only 400,000. But when you have 2.5 million, 3 million, you can wipe out a big lead. You do it a couple of ways. You print extra ballots, or you quadruple count the ballot. You take the ballot and you put it in the machine 4 or 5 times. Now, I'm not just telling you that. We have about 20, 25 witnesses that will tell you that happened in Pennsylvania and in Michigan, which accounts for the disparity between the number of mail ballots sent out and the number counted, because there were more counted than was sent out, because they were counted 4 and 5 times. Unbelievable fraud. Unbelievable. It happened in 6 or 7 different states. It was orchestrated by someone because they did it all the same way. And they were very confident that they could make up almost any lead that he had.
Okay, I want to get back to the 3 or 4 different strategies to get to the Supreme Court and do it expeditiously. Here, I think, is what would be helpful for the audience. The mainstream media said this is all baseless, baseless, baseless. It's made up. There's nothing here. They call it baseless charges. It's President Trump's baseless charges, his baseless charges. At Gettysburg the other day, you presented witnesses that showed it certainly wasn't baseless. Now, you may argue on the details, but this is certainly not baseless. There is a basis here to go forward and to argue this and to be cross-examined in a court or to be crossed at a hearing by a state legislator. Here's the question. If your evidence is so overwhelming and so big, and this is such a vast scandal, why is it that Republican legislators in Pennsylvania and in Arizona, you've got a thing scheduled for Monday in Arizona, which sounds great, but it's at a Hyatt Regency with a selected group of Republicans. Where are, like, the Republican governor of Georgia? Where's the Republican legislature in Pennsylvania, and where is it? And where's the governor Ducey in the legislature in Arizona? Why are they not saying, they're going, Rudy's right, this is overwhelming, we want to see what he's got for our state, let's call a special session and do this?
Well, I mean, a couple of reasons. First of all, if you want to give them the benefit of the doubt, they haven't really read beyond.
No, I don't. No, I'm not going to give them the benefit of that. We're in war. What are you talking about? The whole republic's here. What are they doing? What else do they get? They're politicians. What else they got going? No, Rudy, I do not want to give them the benefit of the doubt. So let's start over. So go ahead. Without giving them the benefit of the doubt, okay. What's your next one?
I don't think Ducey ever really was allied with the president. He's extremely unpopular in his state. He got elected by a 17% margin, but he hardly gets any applause when he comes out. And I don't know what he's got for the president, but he certainly isn't an ally. But the worst part of it is, if he doesn't embrace this, he'll be finished in the Republican Party. Look, this is an attack.
But listen, we don't need allies. What we need is guys who just want to stand up for the rule of law. What we need is governors.
The right thing, by the way.
有超过50%的可能性，台湾很快真的有大难在身。台湾的同胞，你们多保重吧！啊，我们会尽全力，但是确实最糟糕的蔡英文啊，这回给川普总统的这个，给拜登的这玩的一下子，给台湾带入了万劫不复的地狱。咱走着看啊，无论是政治、军事、安全、经济上，都将付出台湾人你不想付出的代价。啊，你走着看。 这一通电话给了共产党绝对的信心，啊，是拜登当总统也打你，不是说拜登当总统也打你，因为不是拜登当总统，川普不支持你，是拜登当总统当总统，啊，他听习近平的，你说这个台湾我都不知道这招他有多愚蠢，啊，他打完电话以后，啊，咱国内的某个中将跟我说这个。 从未见过台湾有如此愚蠢之政客，啊，他心里边绝对是支持台湾的。他说：“文贵你怎么看？”我说：“这个太危险了。”我说：“拜登当选肯定打你。”我说：“因为拜登一定听中共的，听习的。拜登不当选，川普当选，那肯定打你，因为川普不支持你。”
印度已记录了935万感染病例，仅次于美国。印度总理莫迪周六参观了该国3个主要的疫苗开发和生产基地。英国政府周日表示，英国已经获得了200万剂 Moderna 公司的候选疫苗。随着感染病例的持续飙升，韩国考虑实施更严格的社会隔离措施。 预计明年将有30%的马来西亚人可以接种病毒疫苗。 据路透社报道，韩国涉嫌针对疫苗生产商阿斯利康发动网络黑客攻击。美国联邦航空管理局说，它已经支持疫苗的首次大规模空运。日本正面临着精神健康危机的困扰，1个月内死于自杀的人数要比1年中死于病毒的人数还要多。
Dear mama, are you okay over there? Your son is crying and missing you, and sees you in his dreams. You sent take down the CCP, cause it's God's will, it's God's will. So I'll wait for you, and I'll see you when we end the CCP, yeah. So